Hello, I'm very happy to welcome you to our, and I dare say, truly unique and special lesson today, where I'll explain in detail how you can earn money every single month on a flexible schedule using file manicure and Japanese manicure techniques. I'll tell you about this technique, a safe technique, how to get a certificate, and how to master the most expensive and profitable type of manicure. But first, I want to say who this lesson is for. This lesson is primarily for technicians who want to increase the cost of their services, work faster, master the safest, most hygienic manicure method after which the cuticle practically doesn't grow, and at the same time increase their client base and have a steady flow of clients. This manicure is also suitable for doing it yourself at home, allowing you to save between $300 and $500 a year without the risk of getting fungal infections, nail diseases, or infections that could affect your skin and overall health. So let's get acquainted. My name is Yurash Elena. I am a technologist instructor, and I have been in this field for over 12 years. I have worked with such major global brands as Vogue Nails, Aris Professional, Luxury, Nail Factor. I can work with absolutely all materials, tools, and equipment available on our market because I have tested, developed, improved, and helped launch them. I participated in the launch of the Elite line, a product of Aris Professional. I was at the European factory where I personally selected the raw materials, colored the gel polishes to the perfect consistency so that they would apply in a single layer for technicians and have a wonderful, pleasant consistency to work with. That is, I know what our bases, gels, and top coats are made of, how to work with them correctly, where manufacturers might try to deceive us a little, yes, what we can save on and what we can't. I am also an instructor in all areas, manicure, pedicure, and nail design. I have mastered all working techniques, from classic, combined, and machine manicure to file, Japanese, the most popular and trendy ones. Designs of any complexity, up to realism in miniature, yes, portraits of dogs, husbands, children. I can draw all of this without any problems. Thanks to my experience, I train technicians from large beauty salons in premium, branded beauty salons like Mind Me, Tochka, Kras, Soti. I train technicians, improving their qualifications. I bring technicians to the top master level, beginners, all technicians, yes, to the top level, so that the salon earns more, the technicians earn more, and they feel confident in this field, right? So that the technician knows that there is no ceiling to her development here, that she is free to create, so to speak, her manicure life as she wishes. And now let me tell you about our school. The Nail Space School was founded in 2018. And from day one up to now, we have already successfully trained 100,000 students online from all over the world. Our students open their own beauty studios and get jobs as nail technicians in the exact salons they want to work in. Our team of expert curators provides high-quality support as quickly as possible. Starting in 2023, we've been training nail techs in Serbia, Montenegro, Croatia, and Bosnia and Herzegovina. We teach everything related to manicures. We cover the fundamental knowledge, train nail techs, and introduce them to the profession. We go over the theoretical parts about equipment, workplace organization, hygiene standards, disinfection, and sterilization. We teach combination manicure, e-file manicure, applying gel polish right up to the cuticle, and a smooth, beautiful, and thin filing so that it's durable and at the same time clients don't experience any chipping or lifting. We teach speed manicuring, how to quickly do a manicure with polish in 50 minutes or an hour with no lifting, no chipping, no flooding, and no thick blobs on the nails. We also teach how to work with hard materials, extensions, strengthening with gel, polygel, thixotropic gels, and jelly gels, all the materials we have, because my work experience makes that possible. As a reminder, I worked as a technologist who worked with absolutely everything that manufacturers produce. We also teach file manicure, Japanese manicure, pedicure, and nail design. We teach how to properly get a job in a beauty salon so you can get hired and not run into bad employers. We teach beauty masters how to find clients, and we create online services for nail technicians. And I'd like to say that right now, there's a huge shortage of highly professional nail techs on the market. A huge shortage. Salons need them, clients need them. Even though the demand for quality manicures is very high, and there are salons on every corner, still, there's a huge shortage of nail technicians who can do a truly great, high-quality manicure that lasts a long time, is painless, has no flooding, and looks cool and beautiful. And so we took on the task of teaching nail techs the Russian manicure, a manicure that the whole world probably knows, a manicure that is meticulous, perfect in its quality, but at the same time its technique is quite simple. And we have vast experience and expertise in manicure, and we want to be useful to the world and share this with you. when hundreds of our students have already gained independence. They're starting to earn money, open their own offices and studios, and build their client bases. Look at the results they share with us, what beautiful, lovely work they do, what stunning photos they take. Such a manicure is expensive. Such a manicure attracts clients' attention, and clients line up. Clients understand that they are coming for quality and service. Our girls share how they open their offices, and we are always very pleased and happy for our students. Let me tell you what this lesson will be about. First, I will tell you why file manicure is so relevant, what Japanese manicure is, and why these techniques are suitable for both home use and for professional work, for doing a premium, expensive manicure. I'll show you in practice how this is done, tell you how to make money from it, and present you with our full course on soaring and Japanese nails. A nail file manicure is less work but more money because it is a trendy type of manicure, which is advertised by glossy magazines, celebrities, and bloggers. And as a rule, it does not require such publicity from manicurists because Sami clients are looking for masters who do and know how to do a good file manicure. For example, Serbian nail file specialists charge between 30 and 50 euros per hour. If you work for a salon or are looking to join one with nail file skills, top salons are looking for nail technicians and are willing to offer the best and most favorable terms to nail technicians who can perform nail file manicures in order to retain such a valuable employee. Let me tell you about file manicure in more detail and show you what it is on models' hands. What is this anyway? This is a safe and painless way to treat cuticles. Why? Because a nail file manicure is performed with disposable files and buffs. We do not use cutters, scissors, or nippers. We work only with dead skin cells. Therefore, all the client feels is just the light movements of the file on the skin, weightless and enveloping, as if a cat were stroking the client's finger with its paw. These are such light, fluffy movements. Or the client in general does not feel anything at all. And the main advantage, of course, for a manicurist is the cost. A nail file manicure is 30 to 40% more expensive than a regular manicure. And as a rule, clients don't argue with this because it's a trendy type of manicure and everyone wants to try it. And most importantly, clients experience a wow effect here. The cuticle looks neat, remains without hangnails, inflammation, cuts, or fringe for up to 3 weeks. The cuticle grows less, and the client understands what he is overpaying for. He understands that it is truly worth it. There is also less competition here, much less competition here. There are very few specialists who know how to do a file manicure, and those who can do it well using cool, awesome techniques and regulations are even fewer. Also, the masters here do not burn out because this work process is similar to meditation. There is less stress here. And the girls who do file manicures regularly, the masters who have already perfected the technique, gained experience, and transferred their clients to file manicures, they do it in 15 minutes. I have some nail technicians whom I trained in file manicure a year or two ago, and during this time they have completely converted their entire client base to file manicure. They have moved away from the combined and hardware approach and no longer want to go back to it. And the clients too, because they see the results. My girls tell me that when their clients, their regulars, come for a file manicure, they don't even use a file anymore, but a buffer. And with a light movement of the buffer, a special one for cuticles, they just swipe it once like this and that's it, the manicure is done. So essentially, they just need to push back the cuticle, go over it once with the buffer, and file the shape. The manicure takes literally 5 minutes on hands like these. This is an amazing, wonderful type of manicure that you need to master in time because right now you'll be among the first to get acquainted with this manicure technique and start using it and reap all the benefits, get all the clients who are looking for techs for a file manicure. And why has it become so popular? Well, first of all, as I've already said, it's advertised by bloggers, it's advertised by celebrities, glossy magazines, and clients are very eager to try it. There's a trend for naturalness, and many people in general don't get any kind of manicure, right? They avoid salons, they're afraid. But here we have such a painless and safe way to treat the cuticle. And painlessness, right? I've already said that the manicure is performed with soft abrasive files and with the right technique, with the correct positioning of the file. It's not felt by the client at all. A long-lasting effect, because we don't do a deep manicure, we always have a smooth, neat cuticle line. And the cuticle grows back less and stays well groomed for longer. An overgrown cuticle, I'll show you photos on the next slide, becomes a normal cuticle. Speed. The manicure takes 15 minutes from filing the shape to finishing the manicure with regular use of the file manicure on the client. And of course, it's hygienic. The procedure is performed with disposable files, and here there's no risk of giving the client an inflammation diseases, infecting them, right, with infectious or bacterial diseases. So the risk here is reduced to zero. And look at the before and after work. After a file manicure, when I say that we're left with a thin cuticle line, it doesn't mean that the cuticle is left behind. Look at how the manicure is done here. Here it looks as if a high-quality e-file or a high-quality combination manicure has been done. You can't even tell that all this skin was treated without nippers, without scissors, without tweezers, without e-file bits, without anything, only with files. Look, in the first top photo, what the hands look like. We have an overgrown cuticle, it's thin, and the nail fold is flat. It's unclear where the cuticle is growing, where the living skin begins. Nail techs very often cut or overfile hands like these, and the skin then becomes very red and inflamed after incorrect aggressive treatment. Here it's very difficult to maintain the balance between living skin and the dead skin that really needs to be removed. Such clients are usually sensitive. They say, ow, ouch, that hurts, when we just start to lift the skin with an orange stick. But look how wonderfully the files handle this skin. And look at the hands below. We also have an overgrown cuticle. It's really stuck to the nails. It's grown so much. But look how well the student, removed everything. The nail fold here isn't flat. There's a fold where the cuticle grows from under the fold. It's deep. Yes, we have a little pocket there. You can do a deep manicure, but a safe deep one. You can apply polish under the cuticle, and here the cuticle is beautiful. There's no uneven cuticle left, no cuts, no ragged edge, chewed up after nippers. Here there's a neat filing of the skin, very even and delicate. And look, you can't even tell it was done with files. The manicure was done very beautifully. Here, look at the hands before and after. You also absolutely can't tell that all this was removed with files. It all looks like a quality manicure, a very standard one. So when I say that a healthy cuticle edge remains, this is what I mean. The cuticle is practically invisible. It's not tangible. It's not there. We're not left with a skin buildup, that we can't get rid of. We have a beautiful cuticle. It looks healthy, without cuts, without overfiling, without any skin damage. This is suitable for children, for men, for adults, for everyone, and for mature hands. Look at the work here, how beautiful and neat the cuticle looks. And with any cuticle, thin, overgrown, dry, elastic, the file manicure handles every type of skin. It's suitable for absolutely everyone. Here, please take a look, girls. Here in the second picture, where we have short, trapezoid-shaped nails, these are a child's hands, a teenager's. They're moist, they're damaged, there are hangnails, overgrown skin, the nails are still forming. And imagine if we were to use an e-file on hands like these, or a combination manicure, right? Or start soaking such damaged skin for a classic manicure, using removers or keratolytics. How these aggressive products, these aggressive types of treatment, will start to ruin the skin, the nails. But the files removed it delicately. They also did a Japanese manicure, and the hands look very well groomed and neat. The skin that was inflamed wasn't cut further, the inflammation wasn't made worse. It will all heal very neatly. The fingers, the skin, everything was removed very neatly. We left a thin edge of healthy cuticle, so it will all grow back very, very neatly. Without inflammation, without hangnails, everything will gradually recover for our teenager. And in the picture on the left, where we have two fingers, look, on the ring finger, we have redness on the side. The skin is red there. There was a bloody hangnail that the client was picking at like this. Maybe she caught it, it got inflamed. And if we had gone in there with e-file bits, the client would have said, ow, that hurts, be careful, please don't touch it, it hurts. And most likely we wouldn't have been able to treat it properly. We would have either cut it, frayed the inflamed area, or we would have been left with an ugly piece of skin. But look how delicately the files removed all of it, how they perfectly polished the nail, how the entire cuticle was removed. Look at the nail fold, it's so full and plump. It's shiny, it's glossy. The nail now has a Japanese manicure. It looks so expensive and neat. The files didn't irritate the skin further, they didn't fray it, and the inflammation won't spread. This is a very beautiful, high-quality result. And most importantly, it's painless for the client. It's a very pleasant experience for them. What do you think? If the client had a combination or e-file manicure, would they have enjoyed it when it would have been painful with the bits poking into those inflamed areas of skin? Of course not. It would have been stressful for the client, and she most likely wouldn't have returned to that technician for another procedure. But when she realizes she's getting a file manicure, she doesn't feel a thing. She sees her hands before and she sees her hands after, and when she sees how the areas with bloody hangnails were treated so neatly, she realizes that this is the most ideal type of manicure and that no one has ever treated her skin so delicately before. And she'll never want to go back to regular types of manicures again. And look at the minimal set of tools we'll need for this. We'll just need disposable bases, a buffer, and a file, a 240 grit file, and a 180 grit buffer. We'll need, optionally, you might not need it, you can learn without it, replaceable files for scraping the pterygium off the nail plate. Yes, and an orange stick or a pusher. We'll need a plastic or metal base that we'll stick our files onto, dust brushes and our talc for working with elastic, moist skin that might be a bit difficult to file. Yes, that will be our helper. A minimal set for doing a file manicure. And let me tell you about the algorithm. The algorithm is extremely simple. I'll tell you about it first, and then you'll have a visual video example of how it's done. We push back the cuticle with a pusher. Just push it back with an orange stick or a pusher, open up all the sinuses and separate any adhesions, yes, so the cuticle opens up and lifts. With a buffer, we start with the file to work on the cuticle, the side walls, our sinuses. We've worked on the cuticle with the file, then we go over it with a buffer and polish it. The buffer here will act like a polishing bit, just as an example. See, it will easily polish the skin so there are no hangnails, no skin tears, nothing. So the skin becomes smooth. That's it. Our manicure is finished. And you can shape the nails at any stage you want, at the beginning, before the manicure, or after, depending on whether you'll be applying polish, extensions, or a gel overlay. It's up to you, yes, according to your technique, however you like to work. The manicure itself is finished. We just treated everything with a file and a buffer. And if you look at the picture below, you'll see the hands. The cuticle is very, very thin. It's almost weightless, minimal. But if it remains, it doesn't look very good. And it will be difficult for us to apply polish under the cuticle or right up to the cuticle because it will get in the way, the polish will bleed, and the manicure will look like it's several days old. If we lift that flap of skin, it will be loose. But when we removed everything with a file, look, it's gone. We removed it with a file. We didn't cut, tear, or fray this skin. It's thin. Many technicians find it very difficult to work with such thin skin because they often start cutting too much. And even if there's no inflammation, clients later feel at home that the skin is sensitive to hot, to cold, it's painful to wash their hands, it's unpleasant, it's an extra sensitivity. An unpleasant after effect from the manicure, yes, that the client is left with, but here everything is removed delicately. We have no cuticle. And this manicure on these hands takes literally 15 minutes because the cuticle is practically non-existent. And look at how the cuticle looks on complex hands after 1.5 weeks. Here our model has a complex initial state. Look, men's hands, moist skin, elastic, which if we do an E-file or a combination manicure, when we treat it with a bit, such skin starts to tear, get hangnails and fray. The skin becomes painful, it's easy to overfile. The client is sensitive, it hurts. With a file manicure, look, there's even a cut on the finger before the manicure, yes, skin damage. And look at how the skin looks after 1.5 weeks. After 1.5 weeks. This isn't a before and immediately after shot, it's a before and 1.5 weeks have passed. Look at how the hands look. The inflammation that we had on the ring finger has healed. There's just a small scab left. The inflammation didn't spread further. The files didn't fray this skin. The cuticle looks as if it was treated, I don't know, just 2 days ago. It looks like a fresh manicure. But look at the initial state. The cuticle is sticky, it tears, the pterygium grows aggressively onto the nail. And this kind of cuticle after a combination or E-file manicure, look at how it looks on our next slide. After a combination manicure, after a regular classic E-file combination, whatever aggressive type of manicure you want to take, look, after 1.5 weeks, it already starts to show aggressive signs. The cuticle turns white, it gets bigger, it grows back, it's fleshier, it starts to dry out, dryness and flaking appear, and it starts to grow in more aggressively on the nail. After 1.5 weeks, the cuticle is already there. And look at the file manicure result after 1.5 weeks. It looks like a fresh manicure because we didn't work aggressively, because we only removed the dead skin cells. And clients, they always see this result. A wonderful result after a file manicure. Whereas with a regular one, after a week and a half, they already feel the need to trim something, bite something, or do a touch-up, or they start biting their nails, yes, they start doing their own maintenance at home. But after a file manicure, they don't need to do that. And they're very surprised that this time their cuticle has grown back less. and it's nice and wonderful. And we understand that it's thanks to the file manicure, and that clients are willing to pay more for it because they see the result. And when they do it regularly, we realize that their cuticle becomes absolutely perfect, thin, healthy, and you almost don't even need to work on it. And of course, you can make mistakes in a file manicure, right? Often, those who, for example, try to learn on their own, yes, without courses, without training videos, just grab a file, any file, yes, one that's not suitable for this, can make mistakes. And as for mistakes, I want to focus on them right away so that everyone understands that with the wrong technique in any type of manicure, you can damage the nails. Even with an orange stick, when pushing back the cuticle, you can tear it or press on the nail so that it then grows with ridges, yes, damaging the matrix, or you'll get onychorexis, where the nail can split. Mistakes not polishing with a buffer? We always work with a buffer after using the file because it's our polisher, our finisher. We smooth the cut so that it's even, not finishing the work and not opening up the sinuses. The sinuses are complex areas of skin that are difficult to work on, even in a combination e-file or classic manicure. It's difficult in any type of manicure because we often cut the sinuses, don't clean them enough. They can be deep and very sensitive. Less skin grows there, but at the same time, they are the most sensitive. And there's also a lot of pterygium underneath. Yes, so cleaning out all those side areas is difficult. Therefore, here, with a file manicure, we don't ignore treating the sinuses because otherwise it will all look cheap, as if the manicure wasn't finished or cleaned properly. Not stretching the skin. I'll show you in the video, we always stretch our skin, we stretch our cuticle well, so that with the files we're working on the cuticle itself, not the proximal fold, yes, the fold where the cuticle grows from. This is very important. We never press on the cuticle because then, of course, you can cut it, file through it with the file, and you'll get redness and inflammation because when we work with a file, as I've said, it's like a meditation. We work with the file like a violin bow with light, weightless movements. If you press on the file, that's it. That's not a file manicure. The file, all the pressure we apply is just the weight of the file itself. And we're working with a plastic base which weighs just a couple of grams. There's no pressure from your hand like we apply with e-file bits. We only work with light movements. We don't remove the cuticle completely because then we'll file through it, we'll injure it, we won't get a long-lasting effect, and the client's cuticle will still grow back, fray, and get inflamed. We also don't leave a large margin on the files because when you're attaching the file to the plastic base, if there's a large margin, the file will bend. And it will definitely bend with a large margin, making it uncomfortable and inconvenient to work with. And now about Japanese manicure. I'll tell you about the sequence of steps for this procedure. Generally, Japanese manicure is a well-forgotten old technique that is now becoming popular all over again. Japanese manicure has been on our market for quite a long time, but now with the trend towards naturalness, yes, many clients are opting out of coatings due to allergic reactions, nail problems, or simply not wanting a coating. So many are choosing to get a Japanese manicure. And on the slide, you can see some brands that can be used for this. Of course, there is a huge number of other alternative brands, right? The most important thing is that the brand has a paste and a powder, a special mineral powder that we can use for the procedure. The first most important thing where the Japanese manicure technique begins is with a nail diagnosis. Yes, with a nail diagnosis. Not with applying powder, paste, filing the shape, or doing the manicure, but with understanding whether you can do a Japanese manicure on these nails or not. Because if the nail plate is thinned, damaged, or has been overfiled, if the client picked or bit off their coating and their nails are thin, crumbling, or splitting because they've been torn, then you first need to restore the nail plate. Any physical impact is contraindicated for such a nail plate. Here, unfortunately, the client will have to grow it out. Japanese manicure won't help in this case because it's a care procedure. It's just care, it's not a treatment, not a restoration. And from a simple glossy buffing, Japanese manicure differs in that the nail surface isn't just rubbed with chaotic movements of a glossy buffer. Instead, a special paste is rubbed into the nail surface, which creates an additional protective barrier that retains its nutrients and prevents the effects of household chemicals and water on the nail plate. But of course, this is also within reason, right? If we take aggressive dishwashing liquids, or for cleaning, for example, ones that corrode rust, burnt-on grease, products like Azalit, for example, yes, it's clear that Japanese manicure won't save the nails here, and clients will 100% get chemical burns. You need to understand this. And after first we move on to the technique, right? When we understand that the nails can be worked on, they're in good condition, we first do a manicure in any technique you're used to, but ideally, of course, a file manicure. After the file manicure, we degrease the nail plate to remove any remaining dust and improve the penetration of the product. Maybe the client, scratched herself while sitting. Yes, so there's skin oil here, leftover cream, cosmetics, or food, especially if there was no coating. And if the client came without a coating, you also need to buff the nail a little with the soft side of the buffer to improve the product's penetration. Also, there should be no remnants of gel polish or regular polish on the nail plate. This must be completely removed, because otherwise, well, what's the point of a Japanese manicure if we have some pieces of old material left? Plus, the mirror polish will really emphasize all of that. The first thing we do, yes, in the Japanese manicure technique, is saturate the nail plate with a special paste. We take a small amount of the paste, apply it to the nail plate, and with rubbing sealing motions, we work it into the nail. Not with chaotic rubbing, but we carefully work it into the nail. This way, our product kind of envelops and seals the nail. At this stage, our nail becomes a bit glossy and moist, as it were, meaning we don't create the shine at this stage yet. We start creating the shine at the fourth stage when we use our final step, which is our organic powder. You need literally about the size of a match head, a tiny, tiny pinch. And with that, we rub our nail to a shine, creating a beautiful gloss. We get a very expensive looking manicure, a millionaire's wife manicure. And this is a natural shine that will last for 2 to 3 weeks. But this shine on the nail plate, it's not that it will disappear in 2 or 3 weeks or that it will become matte. No, we've polished the nail to a shine, so it might just become a little less glossy, a bit duller, right? But the shine will remain. When your natural nail grows out, you'll see the regrown part, your own matte nail, and the nail that was polished with the Japanese manicure. So the glossy polish lasts, well, until the nail grows out, you'll see that it's polished. With very deep scratches, nail damage, yes, ridges, remnants of gel polish and polish, all of this will be very visible. A Japanese manicure will show all of that. And if the client has deep, fleshy sidewalls, when we have to really pull the skin back to reach the cuticle, it's quite difficult to get in there with the polisher due to the inaccessibility of the sidewalls, and there might be no shine there. That's normal.
The minimal set of tools we'll need for a file manicure. First of all, we have this plastic base, which we'll use to attach our file to it. This is the base. Yes, we'll attach the file to our base, which we'll use to work on the cuticle. Notice that the surface of the file here isn't abrasive, it's quite smooth, so it would be pretty difficult to file through the nail with it with the correct technique, of course. And a buffer, which will also attach to our base. It's foamed, very soft, and we'll use it for buffing motions for finishing up at the end. Of course, there's a pusher or an orange stick and a brush that you can use to sweep away the dust. For damp or elastic skin, it's better to use talc or powder. And for example, if you have any large bleeding hangnails, you can also use nippers or small scissors. You can use them in our file manicure. It's not forbidden. So, how do you attach the file correctly? First, we'll carefully attach the file that we use for the cuticles. We'll gently remove the adhesive backing and then stick it onto our plastic base. We'll do this with a slight offset. So right here we check to make sure there's a small offset, and then we evenly and smoothly stick our file on. Carefully check to see if the offset is an even number, making sure to pay attention to this detail. Once you have confirmed that the offset is even, proceed by pressing down just as before. This will ensure that you have a small offset on this side, which is what you want to achieve. Next, we're going to attach the buffer that we'll be working with. In the same way, we'll remove the sticky side, and we'll stick the buffer on the other side right here. The buffer will go right along the straight side. We'll attach the buffer just like this. Yes, if you leave a large gap for the buffer, it's not critical at all. The most important thing is the file we'll be using on the cuticle. And the first thing we'll need to do, yes, with this file we've made, is we can file and shape our nails however we want. I'm not going to dwell on that, as my nails are already a minimal length. The first thing we need to do is push back the cuticle. We push it back thoroughly, making sure there are no areas where it's stuck. This allows the cuticle pocket to open up nicely. If there are any visible white bits of pterygium on the nail, we must carefully remove them. Check the sinuses to make sure the pocket is opened up well. We're going to clean out all these little bits. You can remove this with a pusher. If you don't have a pusher and you're working with an orange stick, it's more difficult to do. So we can take the file and using the corner of the file, gently clean from left to right, making these careful scraping and cleaning motions under the cuticle, first on one side and then on the other side. This method is only necessary if you are using an orange stick and find it difficult to clean thoroughly with a pusher. Next, when you've opened the pocket well and lifted the cuticle, if it's thin or normal, because for an overgrown cuticle we use a different technique, we take the buffer, the soft thick side of the buffer, and lift the cuticle. We just flick it up like this. Lift it up. We place the file at a 90-degree angle. We don't tilt it forward, we don't tilt it back. It should sit right in the cuticle. And we file looking at our cuticle and we file it. We start on one side with light motions. Hold the file in your hand like a bow so it moves easily. And with these light motions, we start to work on the cuticle. You can count 1, 2, 3 and move on. Next, 1, 2, 3 and move on. 1, 2, 3 and move on. 1, 2, 3 and move on. The dust is flying, which means the cuticle is being filed. Let's see. If our cuticle, once we've lifted and opened it, we can tilt the file slightly without touching the nail plate, and right along the cuticle we start to file our skin with light motions, both to the left and to the right, in both directions. You see, my cuticle is already mostly filed off, especially in the sinuses and on the sides. The top part comes off perfectly and I'm not touching the nail. I'm moving the file along the skin. When I filed it here and thoroughly removed the excess skin, I still have some left on top and I'll buff it from the top, but I won't remove it completely because the buffer will still be working. Plus I still have the sinuses. The sinuses also need to be cleaned out well. We can lift them with the buffer on one side and then on the other side. Once they are lifted up and opened, we take our nail file, holding it like a handle, just like a handle, and start going up, now with the abrasive side on top. Make sure to use gentle, even strokes as you go, taking your time to ensure the area is thoroughly cleaned and properly prepared. To clean, if there are any visible cuticles on the nails, we usually see them as white areas. We turn our file over and use the other side to gently clean the side ridges. Do not try to file the nail itself yet. We move on to filing last of all so that our file remains sharp enough for the cuticle work and can be used rationally. This is especially important for those who have strong or good cuticle growth. If there are any hangnails, we also address the surrounding skin, making sure the area is clean and healthy. Then, we take the nail file and place it at a precise 90-degree angle and carefully clean the nail. On one side, do the same thing with a buff, making sure to cover the area thoroughly. Then we go to the other side. We clean the cuticle area. Now we move on to the lateral sinuses. We also start with a file, put it on the lateral sinuses and clean it with gentle rounding movements like this. Make sure the file doesn't lie flat like this, otherwise you'll cut your sinus. It's raised at an angle as you can see, and we start working on the side here, making sure to be thorough and gentle. We can quickly work on 1-1-1 with the last movements, but we always move it down and seal it with a waffle, ensuring that everything is properly set in place. We go through it carefully to smooth out all the skin flakes, making sure the surface is even and clean. We look closely to see where we have any additional dryness, and if we notice any, we pick up a nail file, gently remove it, and it all goes away, leaving the area smooth. Also, don't forget that sometimes dust gets stuck in these places, so it's important to check and clean thoroughly to ensure the best result. And when we then process it all carefully, this dust goes away. Our clients wash their hands with degreaser and water, and this part becomes clean. Now on the other side, we put the file in the same way and go through the process. On the one side, and the sinus if there is a little skin there, as in my case. Once sealed, we carefully take our tank and go through. With this motion, sealing and rounding everything off, then where there's still a little white left, if there's any, We go over it with a buffing pad, checking for dust and degreasing our hands. To check for any remaining dust, I degreased my finger, and after I degreased it and removed the dust, we see that all the white bits that could have been there were simply dust that clogged the sinuses, and we definitely do this in order not to cut through the skin. We wipe it. This can be done with alcohol, degrease it directly with wet wipes, wipe the sinuses and see how well everything is cleaned. This is such a simple processing method that takes literally a few minutes. While I was showing you this, of course, with explanations, it took a little longer, but in general, with regular use, it literally takes a couple of minutes for all 5 fingers of one hand.
Alright, so we've just watched the practical demonstration. Honestly, it was incredibly easy. Any technician can handle it with any level of experience, even someone who isn't a technician who uses this technique. It's as simple as can be. The main thing is to follow all the techniques correctly. And the benefits of a file manicure for technicians. I really want to talk about this because the advantages are truly undeniable. It expands your client base by almost 6 times, if not more. Because a file manicure is suitable for people with serious illnesses, cancer patients, people who can't wear polish, get a regular manicure, or cause any extra damage to their skin. Yes, it's also very well suited for diabetics. It's suitable for men, teenagers, children, even small children with hangnails or who bite their skin in order to treat it delicately. In our course, we actually have a lesson on how to do a file manicure on a 5-year-old child. The model is the finger of a 5-year-old. Is to carefully remove all those hangnails that cause children pain and discomfort. But we can't use an e-file for this because we'll damage the nails. We also can't soak the hands for a classic manicure. It's not a safe type of manicure. The file manicure handles this perfectly. And it's also a perfect fit for teenagers with their moist nails, underdeveloped nail plates, and their strong, fast growth. Men. Men generally don't like to get e-file manicures. Men generally don't like it to be obvious, that they get manicures. Those marks from the drill bits from the files, they find it very unpleasant. Saw marks. They're more sensitive than women to any scratches on the nails, any marks. They can even be more finicky as clients. That's why the file manicure is perfect for them. Men love getting file manicures. It's suitable for Muslims, yes, and for women who don't wear polish for religious reasons. It's for those who don't wear polish, for example, or get certain types of manicures because of their job, because they don't want extra skin damage. This includes medical workers, kindergarten teachers, and school teachers. All professions where polish is forbidden. This includes food service, where you can't have chips and peeling. A Japanese manicure is perfect for this. A Japanese file manicure is suitable for people with allergies because you can't do soaking classic manicures or use removers and keratolytics on allergic skin. Mature hands. Yes, many of our women just get a manicure, but they want healthy, well-groomed nails. And they use regular polish, which chips and peels off literally by the evening, if not in a couple of hours. Plus, you have to wait for it to dry and it gets smudged. And with a Japanese one, nothing will happen to it. It won't chip, it won't peel, it won't break, nothing. It's just a mirror-like buff, a treatment for the nails. For the exact same reason, it's also suitable for new moms on maternity leave who don't have the time or desire to come back in to get their nails removed or deal with problems when the nails start to catch on things and you need to wash the baby and take care of him and not scratch him. This trend is for those who prefer a natural look, right? Also, a file manicure is a status symbol for a technician. It's their rank, an advanced qualification, because, well, everyone knows how to do a combination e-file or classic manicure. But with a file manicure, you're like a diamond among all the other technicians. You know how to do it. Wow. A file manicure, the most expensive type of manicure. In salons, it's actually rare for anyone to know how to do it. And if they do, it's literally one technician in the entire salon. And imagine how valuable they are. That's if there even is such a technician in the salon. Right away, they earn more. They have a higher status. They're already a top-tier technician. If your e-file breaks, if the power goes out, you don't have to worry. Imagine you have a full schedule of clients and the power goes out, or the handpiece on your e-file breaks, or the whole machine breaks. How will you finish your clients' manicures? You'll lose clients, lose appointments, you'll have to cancel on them. But with this, it turns out you have a way to earn just as much as you would with a manicure with polish. Yes, because you'll be doing a manicure and a Japanese manicure. It costs a file, and Japanese manicure will cost the same as a manicure with regular polish, for example, right? And you won't lose out on money, and you won't lose your clients. And here, you don't need to sterilize instruments because there's a cost saving if you don't use additional metal pushes or metal bases for the files. If you only use disposable tools, orange wood sticks, a plastic base, then you only need to disinfect. And the orange wood sticks, the disposable files, all of that is disposed of, thrown away, or given to the client to use. That's it. All you have left to take care of is your base, which you use to stick our files onto. So it's the ideal type of